So, we're reading from Bhagavad Gita, chapter 18, verse 77. It's the second last verse in the whole Bhagavad Gita. So it's very near the end here. So before I start, I would like to ask the blessings from the devotees because of the fact that I'm the most unqualified to sit here speaking. So, but by the mercy of devotees, Srila Prabhupada, hopefully I will be able to say something of value, something auspicious, something helpful during this time here. So, kindly repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So, as I said, 1877. If you have the verse in front of you, kindly repeat line by line. So, Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Vismayo me mahan rajan. Vismayo me mahan rajan. Hrishyami cha punah punaha. Hrishyami cha punah punaha. Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Vismayo me mahan rajan. Hrishyami cha punah punaha. Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Vismayo me mahan rajan. Hrishyami cha punah punaha. Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Vismayo me mahan rajan. Hrishyami cha punah punaha. Anyone else wants to read? 1877. Tacha samsmritya samsmritya. Rupam atyadbhutam harihe. Vismayo me maharajan. Harishyami cha punah punaha. So, word by word. Kindly repeat. Tat, that. Cha, also. Samsmritya, remembering. Samsmritya, remembering. Rupam, form. Ati, greatly. Adbhutam, wonderful. Harihe, of Lord Krishna. Vismayaha, wonder. Me, my. Mahan, great. Rajan, O king. Hrishyami, I am enjoying. Cha, also. Punah punaha, repeatedly. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. O King, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. This is Sanjaya speaking, the narrator of the Bhagavad Gita, who sees the conversation or the happenings from afar, from the king of the court of the king. So he's a servant of King Dhritarashtra. So he's the one speaking here. Purport. It appears that Sanjaya also, by the grace of Vyasa, could see the universal form Krishna exhibited to Arjuna. It is, of course, said that Lord Krishna had never exhibited such a form before. It was exhibited to Arjuna only, yet some great devotees could also see the universal form of Krishna when it was shown to Arjuna, and Vyasa was one of them. He is one of the great devotees of the Lord, and he is considered to be a powerful incarnation of Krishna. Vyasa disclosed this to his disciple Sanjaya, who remembered that wonderful form of Krishna exhibited to Arjuna and enjoyed it repeatedly. I'll read the verse once more. O king, as I remember the wonderful form of Lord Krishna, I am struck with wonder more and more, and I rejoice again and again. Om Agyantimirandhasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chaksurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prastaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pasyatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shrivas Adi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So, from this verse, you understand that Sanjaya was very awestruck by the form of Krishna, as he mentions. And from the purport by Srila Prabhupada, we understand that it is a matter of the universal form that he actually revealed to Arjuna in the 11th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. And what was kind of special was that Sanjaya could actually appreciate this form of Krishna, which was kind of unusual, you might say, and it was by the grace of his guru Vyasadeva that he was granted this vision and this comprehension to be able to appreciate this overwhelming form, you might say, of Krishna, this universal form, because Krishna had actually shown some features or some of his universal forms in Dhritarashtra's court earlier when he went there to meddle, you might say, with Duryodhan to kind of try to prevent the war from happening. And at that time, almost no one could bear to see this overwhelming and, you might say, frightening form because of. Oh, thank you. It's very overwhelming qualities like that. Only the more elevated personalities with a higher intelligence present there could actually see and appreciate, because they actually already knew the position of Krishna, and not many could understand who Krishna was even at that time, even being around him. But Bhishma Dev knew, Drona knew, Vidur knew also, so they could actually see this form and appreciate it. Whereas Duryodhan, he could not appreciate. He would discard this exhibition and say, "Who is this magician playing tricks? Lock him up," like this about Krishna. But of course, they were not successful in locking him up. They could not do that to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But this shows a little bit of the position here of the different personalities. That those were more elevated and, you might say, Krishna conscious. Those who knew the position of Krishna, they could actually see the universal form for what it was, and because they understood who Krishna was. But Duryodhana was not one of them, and so the meddling with him was not successful. There was no diplomacy achieved. It should also be understood that it was at that time when Krishna revealed some universal forms in that court. It was not exactly the same as in Bhagavad Gita, as it is clearly stated that it was the first time that he actually showed it. The time he showed it to Arjuna, so it was some features of it or some, but it was not exactly the same. That is a clear point here. But anyway, whereas Duryodhana could not appreciate at all, could not understand, Arjuna was in a very suitable position to actually understand. So he would immediately fall on his knees, seeing these forms, and start praying. Tvamaksharam paramam vedhitavyam tvamasya vishvasya param nidhanam tvamavyaya shasvata dharma gupta sanatana tvam purusho matume. He would say, you are the supreme primal objective. You are the best in all of the universes. You are inexhaustible and you are the oldest. You are the maintainer of religion, the eternal personality of Godhead. So this shows a little bit difference of understanding when they see this form, what's actually going on. So, and Arjuna, he was actually also overwhelmed and frightened after some time because of the ferocious, feats that was also present there. In the, he would see the soldiers from both sides actually enter into some mouths of God being crushed by his teeth and obliterated like that. So a lot of intense, you might say, things going on. And actually, this difference in perspective and comprehension between, for example, Duryodhan and Arjun is also summed up by Keshava Maharaj. He has written this book, a short summary and acronyms, and from the summary of the verses, actually at the very end here, Keshava Maharaj says, this is the end result. Knowledge and understanding of the Bhagavad Gita is dependent upon one's consciousness. So this we could see here, like the different states of consciousness that these persons were actually in. Only one who approaches these sacred teachings with proper mood and lifestyle will be able to fully comprehend the deep and profound meanings. By hearing and studying this conversation with such favorable temperament, one perceives the spiritual dimension as a tangible reality, and his life becomes exciting and wondrous at every step. Thus, to share this wisdom with society at large constitutes the greatest welfare work in the entire universe. So, yeah, this is that's something to get into. But yeah, that sums it up quite well. And apparently Sanjaya was in a position to actually understand. He was a, you might say, lowborn, simple person, but he was, nevertheless, he was pious and humble, and by these virtues he could actually receive this mercy, receive this understanding. So, but speaking of the universal form, that's also an interesting thing to try to understand, because it's also, we find descriptions of this Virat Rupa, this universal form, in the second canto in the Srimad Bhagavatam, and this is also not. It's also quite different from the totality of it, coming all at once. That Krishna exhibited to Arjun in the Bhagavad Gita. But this universal form that is presented in the Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 2 is suggested as a way for less intelligent persons to meditate on the Lord. For those who cannot actually understand his Satchit Ananda Vigraha, his transcendental form, his transcendental body. And the way I personally understand it is to meditate on the Lord while seeing the material nature is helpful for this Vishnu Smaranam, this remembrance of the Lord. You see different things, and you remember the descriptions from Srimad Bhagavatam, how to apply the Lord to all these different scenes in nature. So that's a way to pull the mind to the Lord by just seeing different things and remember. So, for example, it's mentioned that when you see the sun, You think of the Lord's eye. This is the Lord's eye of the universal form, it is said in the Srimad Bhagavatam. And when you see the rivers in the world, this is the veins of the Lord's universal body. You see the trees. Oh, these are the hairs, the bodily hairs of the Lord. How fortunate we are to see these. And we see the hills and mountains, they are the bones. Oh, we got all the way down to the bones of the Lord. That's also very fortunate, maybe. And the moon is the mind, because it's the reservoir of all changes. Blazing fire is the mouth of the Lord that could destroy anything. So, does anyone remember any other of these descriptions in this Srimad Bhagavatam? Any familiar? Because there are many of them in there. I mentioned the more easily digested, easily comprehended ones, because it gets a little bit difficult. It gets hard to kind of make a comprehensible or coherent body out of these descriptions too. So for me, it gets hard, and if this is to be understood by the less intelligent than myself, I'm very well below that, because it's very hard for me to understand and meditate on this like as a coherent body, like I said. So, for example, there is the description there that outer space is the depression of his navel. The 10 directional sides are his ears. The Vedic hymns are the cerebral passage of the Lord. Modesty is the upper portion of his lips. The terminations of day and night are his dress. So, this, for me at least, it becomes a little bit difficult to make a comprehensive picture out of this, because it's sort of different categories of features in nature. Like there's senses coming in, sense objects, subtle features of the mind, and they're all like kind of incorporated in this universal body. So it becomes quite hard for me personally to understand, even though the more simple ways to remember the Lord that I mentioned in the beginning can be quite helpful, just to always try to see the Lord and remember the Lord. But we can also see that the Lord is, of course, more than this. This meditation is for those that cannot understand that the Lord can be more than the universal cosmos presents. That you hear these New Age people, they will always speak about the universe as if that is actually completely synonymous with God. So they cannot understand that God is also transcendent to the material universe. But in Purusha Shuktam from Rig Veda, this is a hymn that is usually recited in yagyas, fire yagyas. In verse 16, after it has in previous verses described the creation of the material cosmos, and also made descriptions of the universal body of the Lord, universal form, similar to the ones explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam. This verse actually concludes that Vedahametam purusham mahantam arityavarnam tamasastu pare sarvani rupani vichitya dhiraha namam krutva bhivadanyadaste dhata purastad yamuda jahara shakra pravitvan pradishascha tasraha tamevam vidvan amrita iha bhavate nanyah pantha ayanaya vidyate yagnena yagnam ayajanta devah tani dharmani prathamanya tehanakam mahimanas sachante yatra purve satya santi devah. So this is it starts with, now I get to know of Purusha, who is boundless and shining with the glow of the sun. He is very different from all this nature and the one who creates all these beings, naming them and activating them by entering into them. And then he goes on to explain how this knowledge was passed down from Brahma to Indra and the importance of Yagya, how Yagya also came down this way. But the important part here is now I get to know Purusha, who is boundless and shining with the glow of the sun, and he's very different from all this nature. So then we understand that the Lord is more than just the material universe. He's transcendent to that. That is also him, also his energy, but there's another higher energy as well, as is explained many times in the Bhagavad Gita. And fortunately, by Srila Prabhupada's mercy, we have an opportunity, a possibility to Jai Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda, Jai Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman, Jai Shri Shri Gonitai Ki Jai. So fortunately, by Prabhupada's mercy, we can actually associate with the Lord more intimately than is possible with this universal form, because Krishna, personally, in his original form, as Bhagavan, is more intimately, you might say, available for us. He's more personal. So now, how can we associate more intimately with the Lord? How can we be more intimate with the Lord? Any suggestions? That's a good suggestion. That's the main point I want to make too. Like japa chanting, that is our time in the day that we actually set aside to have a really intimate association with the Lord. We ideally we block everything else out, and we can focus on only this sound vibration, which we understand to be non-different from the Lord Himself. That He is actually there in full potency, like that. So, but how can we get more and more intimate by this method then? What is the way to have a good japa? What is needed for good japa? Any suggestions? Anything? Realizations? What is qualities needed for good japa? Attention, that's a good one.
Remembering that you're a servant of the Lord.
Mood of service then. Mood of service in the japa then.
Yeah.
Anything else? Yeah. For me personally, what I usually boils down to when I analyze it, there is faith is very much needed, and actually, because faith means that you actually have this conviction, kind of, that the Lord is present in His name with the full potency, with the full power. So you actually accept this, and you can endeavor with that knowledge. That makes for a whole other depth to the undertaking, you might say. Because it takes some sacrifice to do it. It's not completely comfortable all the time, every time to get into this japa chanting. But with faith, it becomes easier when we have this. That's one thing that makes it both easier and more effective to do it. And then we have devotion, of course, that we talk about all the time, devotional service, devotion. But what does it mean to chant with devotion? Any ideas?
So something that's helped me in the past is that the Hare Krishna Mahamantra is simply composed of the Lord's names. And so I thought about it like this. When there's someone that you love, it's a great pleasure to call that person's name. You know, you remember them, you like to say what's his name. So because even though we may not be able to feel spontaneously want to. And then that's, but of course not like in an imitating way, as if you actually do have love for the highest level of God, but knowing that originally you do.
Yeah.
So it's just like,
That's a good mindset, but it sounds quite advanced to be there spontaneous love for God, huh?
yeah, if you're just trying to acknowledge that,
Yeah.
So what was the question again?
What's devotion while chanting?
Yeah. So yeah, just kind of remembering that.
Yeah, it's a good mind. It's a good mindset. Good way to. Yeah,
As if,
yeah,
a bit like that.
yeah. To me personally, devotion while chanting means um, what we do otherwise in our devotional service. We take what we have and we try to use it in Krishna service. And what I have is some form of something is alive inside of me, some emotion. So I try to channel that into the japa chanting, and that way I'll become more present also because the emotion is present, and then when I engage that in the sound vibration, that's also a tool for staying present. So attention is also actually incorporated in that devotion. And then we have one other thing, patience. So what is patience while chanting japa?
Accepting that it will be revealed, that Krishna will reveal himself at some point.
Yeah.
Come on, Krishna.
Yeah.
Being really patient
Mm.
and chanting from the heart.
Yeah. That you actually don't become restless. That you can that you can. That actually goes together with the faith. The taste will come, but I don't crave it. But it will come, and I'm sure of it. So, like that. And one more thing that you were onto before, Sam. That this mood of service while chanting is a very helpful thing. That you might that you can have this idea that you want to serve this what you're doing very nicely. So you pronounce it nicely. You want to serve it with love, and you want to hear it very nicely too. So you do it with utmost care, like that. This is a mood of service. You might like you have a really nice dish and you present it very nicely. Yeah. So these are might be some helpful things for helpful qualities for effective, or you might say good japa chanting. One thing that could also help is before you start to make some kind of a mental shift. There is a analogy that a mentor of mine gave that when you before you start, you can imagine like you have a light switch. Like, okay, now some other things is happening than the usual blabber of the mind. Like, so now I'm really focusing. Now something else is happening. So this is a very special time, and because actually we have this ability to be for this razor sharp focus. The ability is there. If you think of a surgeon, however skilled, if they have a surgery, an operation to perform, they cannot afford to be sluggish in the mind or like wandering off like that. So she will be absolutely focused, especially if it's a challenging one. But of course, any which way, it's very important to be very precise and very careful when you cut the knife through some tissue. So we have this ability. So if we go into the japa period every day with this attitude that this is important now. This is the most important in my life this hour so far. Then if we really can get into that mood, then that can be very helpful for the focus because we all do this and we all find it important. The question is, like, if we're gonna do it anyway, why not try to do it the very, very best? That's a yes, Sam.
Yeah, so just something I wanted to add, just real briefly. Yeah, so how you could like move that on to as okay, treat japa importantly, but like, what then is the importance and significance of japa, and how can one realize that? And how I've realized it is when you can realize it because it really does actually affect your day. And like if you're not like been so attentive, and thus the rounds haven't been of such good quality, or if you haven't done so many rounds when you didn't in the morning, I've found that most of my day and my consciousness throughout the rest of the day will suffer somewhat. You know, there's less clarity. So there's the rounds. So thus, one can realize the importance, why we should take the rounds so seriously. Yeah, that's as you were saying. Is that we should do it very carefully with, apt attention. Yeah. And yes, it's like in the class that we had earlier, like Nitra Shekhar Prabhu was saying how, you should treat as if, he was saying like as if you're on a date with Krishna. You don't want to just like pay your attention to other things.
Yeah.
And that was a realization I had as well. You should be respectful.
Yeah.
Pay your attention to Krishna in the form of his name.
Yeah.
Like that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
We can recognize this for ourselves. What if you have a conversation with someone and the other person starts looking around, thinking about other things? You feel a little bit offended. So this is the because you want their full attention when you're engaging like that. So this is also why it's called offensive. Why we inattentive while chanting, because that is actually the thing. That's and like. Someone said also, what if you even invite someone to the house and then you fall asleep while you're sitting there with them? That's also a little bit offensive, you might say. So anyway, there can also be added some strategies for concentration, concentration is of course helpful for these other qualities as well. So does anyone have any suggestions, any strategies for keeping or this attention, this focus, concentration? What can you do? Yes.
You can have a deity and be able to focus on that.
Yeah.
Or a picture, if you don't have a deity, a picture to be able to focus, to keep the attention there so that the eyes don't start wandering.
Yeah, that's good. Like,
and then the mind follows.
Very good, because we're engaging the sense of touch, but with the mala, and the sense of hearing. But you can also engage the sense of sight, seeing, like seeing deity, seeing picture, or even just visualizing your favorite image of the Lord, like that can help too. Anything else? Any suggestions on these strategies for concentrating whilst chanting japa? Otherwise, we have sitting can be quite make quite a difference because what we tell the body, the mind will kind of follow, because they're very intimately connected. So if we tell the body that take it easy and just relax, and then the mind will kind of be kind of go more prone to go in a sleepy mode like that. But if you tell the body like, and now it's time to be alert, now it's time to be focused, you can actually tell the body too, and that makes quite a difference. I recently experienced quite clearly myself going to the Srimad Bhagavatam, then having been up since 3 o'clock, maybe sleeping 5 hours. If I sit against the wall or sitting a little bit too relaxed, I'm very very fast. But then if I kind of engage to make endeavor to actually stay awake and hear, then it makes quite a difference just by sitting, because the body gets a different idea, and the mind as well. Another thing, we have the drishti, the glance, where they put the eyes. Like you said, you can put it on image or deity of the Lord. But also, if you can't do that, or I've personally also seen that closing the eyes completely can be a little bit going to daydreaming or sleeping. Or keeping them open can be a little bit distracting. You see different things, and then your mind carries away with why is he walking? Why is he walking like that? And what is that on the wall? And so it becomes distracted. But by keeping I got a piece of advice once to keep the eyes half open or to stare into here, which might look a little bit weird, but it helps the focus to keep the eyes not completely open, not completely closed, but to have that that you can focus on something in front of you very diligently, or up this point here, or like that. We can also focus the mind by doing some breath work before, like balancing the mind with a few minutes of this anuloma viloma, with the alternate nostril breathing. Which is supposed to balance out the two halves of the brain, so you can actually also focus more easily like that and balance the mind. Or just breathe deeply for half a minute or a minute. It also clears the mind, just take a few deep breaths. Like that. Or if you need to more like pull the energy up from like lower chakras and get more like clear head. You can do this called Kapalbhati, but you probably would need some more instruction if you're not used to it. But it's like so it pulls the energy up more, so it clears the head also, and also energizes. It's called shining skull because apparently some yogi has visualized that they got a shining skull from this technique. So Kapalbhati. Another thing I was actually got my attention once was that a devotee pointed out to me that Prabhupada would actually, when he rolled the japa beads, he would roll it for half the mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, and then it would stop and hold it still, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, and then roll it again, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. And this actually, when I remember this actually helps very much, because it keeps the awareness of what you're doing. Like this is that you're aware all the time of where you are, what you're doing, and when you forget to do that, then you also know that you forgot your mind somewhere else, like that.
Rhythm can become mechanical.
Yeah.
Because it becomes automatic. You don't have to think about it, and then like that.
Yeah. So, but keeping a pattern like that can help the awareness also. Yeah, I would like to share a story, just one realization I had once on this mood of service experience. I had a good period of chanting. I had some inspiration by going to a temple, staying there for a week, and had a real boost in spiritual life and japa chanting after that. So I would get up in the morning before. I went to university at that time, and I would chant at least 10 rounds very diligently and focusedly at that time, and had very nice results. But then one morning, it was more troublesome. The mind was very restless, and I couldn't really chant well. And I was thinking, I think I had done 6 rounds, and I was thinking, oh my God, this is yuck. This kind of rascal chanting will not get me anywhere like that. But I was thinking, okay, but I will I will now finish 3 more rounds anyway for you, Krishna. I was thinking only as a service, even though it's terrible, the quality. I will do it as a service. And what happened then, after just around that time that I finished these 3 rounds, was that such great mercy came anyway. Just even though I hadn't expected, but just because of this this attitude, this shift in the consciousness, this intention, the mercy actually came like that. So it was a very special experience. Yeah, another time when I really got into good chanting, I saw it in front of me, that the japa was actually a yagya, a fire yagya. So there was a fire of the holy name, and whenever any tinge of any uncomfortableness in the mind or from the emotional body came up, I would just throw that in the fire, and it would just immediately be cleansed. And in this ecstatic chanting, I would actually just wait and hope for anything to come up, so I just could just use it as fuel for this service. So that was also very very special experience that I will share, because it was. Because usually we want to avoid these uncomfortable feelings or things that come in the mind, but in this state was actually what I wanted to come, what I was looking for. Anyway, I think I'll stop there and open up for any questions, discussions, any other realizations or points on japa chanting or whatever else that might be coming. Yeah, I saw it in front of me. Like it's called the yagya that is recommended for this age. So the yagya, that is a fire sacrifice, you might say. So I saw it in front of me that the holy name was like a fire, and I wanted any uncomfortableness from the emotional body or the mind to come, so I could just use it for that fire. So I could just sacrifice it instantly. So that was a very special state to be in, because it was very everything that came could just be used for this ecstasy of chanting. Yeah. Anything else? Otherwise, I think I stop here. Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Vancha kalpatarubhyas.
So with class now concluded, we'll have the curtains will open. We'll have darshan again at 7, in just a few short minutes, and we'll have a kirtan, and after that though we'll have the Nrsimha prayers, and after that there will be Mahaprasad being served in reception. So please stick around. Thank you for coming for class. As I just wait a few more minutes, just chant Hare Krishna or just chat, whatever. So, Hare Krishna.
Arti then? We're singing Arti. But you can ask whoever wants to do this and sing. Nobody singing? You can sing. Yeah. Hare Krishna. So we're going to have Gaur Aarti in about a few minutes. So I would kindly ask everybody to stand up, and we can all pray and we can all sing just before that. Jaya Radha Gokula Nanda Radha Gokula Nanda Shri Radhe Jaya Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jai Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman Jaya Gauranitai 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 Jaya Gauranitai Jaya Prabhupada 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 Jaya Prabhupada Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Shri Radha Gokul Nanda ki, Sita Ram Lakshman Hanuman ki, Rishi Gauri Thaya ki, Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Kiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chate Arati Koshobha Jaya Jaya Gaura So now we're going to do what's called the Prema Dhvani prayers. And so I'm going to say the different prayers. I'm going to say ki, you will say jai. So, Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Shata Sri Srimad Abhaya Charanaravinda Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON founder Acharya Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Jaya Om Vishnupada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Shata Sri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada ki Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur ki Prem se Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopa Gopinath Shyama Kund Radha Kund Giri Govardhana ki Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai Nanda Shri Maya Dham ki Ganga Mai ki Yamaya Mai ki Bhakti Devi ki Tulasi Devi ki Shri Shri Radha Gokulananda Bhagavan ki Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Shri Shri Gauritai ki Shri Prabhupada ki Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda ki Transcendental Book Distribution ki Nitai Gaura Brahmanande Hari Bol. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the lotus feet of Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga. All glories to Sri Prabhupada. So now we're going to have the prayers to Lord Nrsingadev. So if everyone would please be seated and we can carry on. Hare Krishna.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Come
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much for attending this evening, today's Gaura Arati. So now that we're serving Mahaprasad in reception, again, thank you very much for attending. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I was really keeping that mood of like it's like some prayers nicely instructed us. Parity is an offering to the Lord. So in that mood, it's not about getting absorbed in the holy name. That's what kirtan is for. But this is different. This is obviously an offering. It's an offering to the Lord. So I was kind of more absorbed in that mood. Thusly, very nicely. Nice work, Sam. And yeah, that's what you like. I'm the one who can't like you. Yeah, good job. You can give the nice pass and everything. I feel like it.
I think you're saying. Then again, I think it would be offensive.
The only thing with playing Madonna for that long is that it swells up my hands and chronic.
Hey, very good.
Who's this new gentleman? Where's the old son?